Averaging under 3 yards per carry in the last 3 weeks, yet is rostered in 79% of leagues? Find out who you should be dropping from your fantasy football rosters. Welcome into another episode of Fantasy Dilemma. I'm your host, Nate Hamilton. You can follow me on Twitter @DominateFF. Another week of fantasy football is in the books, so let's discuss who you should be adding and dropping from your fantasy football rosters. The first player you should be looking to add this week is wide receiver Tim Patrick of the Denver Broncos. He's been a consistent option for the Broncos all season and has 3 games with over 100 yards receiving. He's drawn 23 targets and has 209 receiving yards and a touchdown in just the last 3 games. If you're looking to add depth at the wide receiver position, Tim Patrick could help you as we head into the fantasy playoffs. At the running back position, it's time to add Salvon Ahmed from the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins have turned the keys over to Ahmed the last couple weeks. He has 33 carries for 128 yards and a touchdown over the last couple of games. Even if and when Myles Gaskin returns, he'll likely have to compete now with Ahmed for touches in that backfield. It's slim pickings again at the tight end position, but you might want to look at Dalton Schultz of the Dallas Cowboys. He showed some chemistry with quarterback Andy Dalton earlier in the season, and lucky for him, he returned in Week 11, which resulted in a touchdown on 6 targets. If you're hurting at the tight end position, Dalton Schultz could provide you a safe floor with Andy Dalton now back at quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Moving on to who you should be dropping off your fantasy football rosters, let's stick with the Dallas Cowboys. It's wide receiver Michael Gallup. Over the last 2 weeks, he only has 5 receptions for 65 total yards. It's clear, at best, Michael Gallup is the third option in this wide receiver core for Andy Dalton going forward. You should be able to find more consistent production on the waiver wire. Moving on to the running back position, it's time to drop Duke Johnson of the Houston Texans. Right now, he's rostered in 79% of leagues, and over the last 3 weeks, he's averaging 2.7 yards per carry. And even in his last game against the Patriots, he ran for just 15 yards on 10 carries. Duke Johnson is just too big of a risk at this point in the season with very little reward. I understand you might be hurting at the tight end position, but there's just no way Austin Hooper is helping you at all at this point. He hasn't been very productive at all this year. In fact, he only has 44 total receiving yards in the last 2 weeks. I did expect some kind of decline from his season last year with the Atlanta Falcons, but not this bad. The Cleveland Browns offense as a whole is dangerous to invest in, and you can forget about it at the tight end position. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of Fantasy Dilemma at the Game Day. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you're watching this video. Comment and let us know who you plan on adding and dropping as we head into Week 12, and we'll talk to you next week.